If you're a runner and your thighs touch, you know that loose style running shorts just don't stand a chance against your thighs gobbling them right up. So today we are testing out running shorts that are thick thigh approved, that are not going to be gobbled up by your thighs during running. The shorts that we're reviewing today are all a tight style biker short. This is truly the only style of short that is actually going to be approved for thick thighs for not riding up, because they're the only shorts that actually have some compression and hold to them that are going to hold on below the bulk of the thighs and prevent them from riding up. So I have all of the most highly recommended tighter style biker shorts recommended by people with thick thighs who run. I gathered all of these from people in my DMs, running forums, running websites, various places, and I have 12 of the most highly recommended shorts from multiple different price points, and we're gonna test them all out and see which ones are actually running approved. If you guys are new here, my name is Kathryn. I've been doing activewear reviews for years. It's almost been 6 months of me running. I do need to do a running update, and this is my third official running clothes review. So we already did sports bras, we did do loose style running shorts, and now we're into tight running shorts. Running leggings is in the works. So first, let's talk about what we need to look for in a running short to make sure it's going to work and be functional for our bodies. So first of all, there is an almost foolproof way to tell if a short is going to roll up on you, and it all just depends on the inseam. And this is going to be a little bit different for everyone based on your height, your anatomy, where you carry your muscle and fat, etc. You're going to want to look for where in your thighs the thigh actually tapers down. So with general thigh anatomy, there is a point of your thigh that carries the bulk of the muscle of the fat, and that eventually tapers down. So wherever the bulk of your thigh is, you need to make sure your shorts are going at least a little bit beyond the bulk, because if the hem of your shorts are ending above the bulk of your thighs, there's nothing to hold that short down and your thigh is just gonna eat it right up. So what works for my body personally is about a 6 to 6.5 inch inseam. I know that those are going to be roll proof for me. For running shorts, I actually prefer like a 6.5 to 7 inch inseam. That's like the sweet spot for me, but everyone's going to be a little bit different. If you carry a little bit more weight in your glutes and your thighs, you'll want to look for a slightly longer inseam. So the short needs to hit below the bulk of the thighs, and the short also needs to have enough compression at the hem to keep that bottom hem in place. So many brands now are doing kind of a looser hem at the bottom, so it's not squishing the thighs down at all, which is good if you don't want your thighs to be squished, but there needs to be a balance between having some compression to hold the hem down and make sure the seam doesn't roll up, and also not being so tight that you're sausaging your thighs. But there is definitely a happy medium. Some other things to look for in a running short is if there is chafing possible. So mostly for chafing, we're gonna wanna look at the inner seam that goes down the thigh and see how bulky it is. If it's a nice flat seam that doesn't have too much bulk to it, the chances of it chafing are pretty low. And of course with running, it's a lot of your thighs rubbing back and forth. So whatever material you choose, you wanna make sure it's durable and pill resistant. Generally, I lean towards sleek performance fabrics that don't tend to pill, but there still are benefits to a softer brushed fabric, even if they kind of wear down a little bit faster over time. I also always get asked about sweat proofness, and there really is not a good way to test this. For a few of these shorts, I did actually do like a full like 3 to 4 mile run, and I did sweat in them, but I will say I have been running again for 5 to 6 months, and every single pair of shorts, leggings, loose shorts that I've run in has shown sweat, because when there's enough sweat, it's gonna show. So no, nothing here is truly sweat proof. If you're really looking for sweat proofness, you're going to want to look for a pattern or just a darker color. And a general rule for fabrics, a brushed soft fabric is going to show sweat a little bit less, but it tends to hold on to that sweat for a little bit longer, and you kind of feel a little bit more heavy in it. It's more absorbent. And a sleek performance fabric is going to show sweat faster, but also dry faster. So that tends to be my preference. I feel more comfortable sweating in a sleeker performance material. All right, so the metrics we're going to be going over for each of these shorts is my usual metrics, sizing, etc. If the thigh seam stays in place, what kind of pockets or like runner functional features the shorts have, if there's any chafing potential, how they perform in the run test. I am run testing in all of these shorts, and I have these little chalk fabric markers, and I actually marked on my thigh where the short was before I started running and then where the short was after a few minutes of running to see if the short does really stay in place. All right, without further ado, let's get into the shorts. Also, I know someone's going to ask about the Lululemon like fast and free shorts. There was some sort of Lululemon short, but they were literally completely out of stock when I looked on the website. So I'm going to be trying the leggings in my legging review, but I didn't like intentionally leave those out. I wanted them, but they only had like a size 2 left in any color. and I'm not a size 2. We're going to be separating these into categories of no front seam shorts and front seam shorts. So unfortunately there are not a ton of no front seam performance short options, but I did do my best to find a few and they are really good. So we're starting out with no front seam because personally that's what I prefer. And we're starting out with the Offline by Aerie Goals 7-inch pocket short. So these came highly recommended and these are a good one. Unfortunately right now I can only find them in black, but I would be buying these in every color if I could find them because I just feel like these are doing a great thing. So these are made of a compressive, sleek performance fabric. This is the Aerie Goals fabric. It has a good medium to high compression hold, pet resistant, nice and sweat wicking. It has a pretty wide double thickness waistband with no top band, but it stays put really well. We have no front seam on these, and these are a 7-inch inseam, which is my perfect length that it really stays put well, but it's not so overwhelmingly long. These have just a little triangle gusset. We have 2 spacious side pockets, and the seams are flat across in the back. Let's try these on. Okay, so these are hitting more of an ultra high rise. They do go kind of slightly above my natural waist. Personally, I'm okay with a rise like this. I honestly like it. Double thickness waistband, and the waistband is again nice and wide, so it does give a little lower tummy control, and overall compression is about medium to high. So these are definitely your classic sleek performance shorts with some good hold to them. These do have no front seam as well, and I would say pretty minimal chafing potential. We have spacious side pockets. I can fit my whole iPhone, like whatever Pro on the side. It doesn't go all the way down, but it's still pretty long. Since these are pretty compressive, they aren't doing anything crazy for the glutes. I'm just gonna give them a nice medium on the booty scale. Again, you'll get some cellulite coverage because of that compression. True to size, but if you're in between, I would size up because again, they are on the compressive side. And personally, 7 inches is honestly my ideal running short. For gym shorts, I usually go for a 6-inch, but the extra inch for running shorts just really makes sure for me that they stay below the bulk of my thighs. And this is going to vary for everyone based on your own anatomy, where you carry your fat, muscle, etc. But for me, I like the 7 inches. They're not so long that they're going all the way down my legs, but I still get some nice security beyond the bulk of my thighs, and these stay put really well. There is some compression at the bottom of the thighs, but I would still consider them thick thigh friendly overall. So results of the run test, these did not budge at all. They have enough compression at the bottom of the thigh, but they also don't cut in. I also love how well these stay up, even though they don't have a top band or a drawstring or anything. They really don't need it. They have enough compression and hold that they just stay put. This fabric also lends itself really well to running. It's very sweat wicking, and I feel like these are just such a great balance of functional but also flattering. There's no areas where it like pinches into me or looks weird, so if they had more colors in these, I would be buying them. I think they may come out with more come summertime, but these are definitely a top pick. Short number 2 are the Kamo Fitness Serenity shorts. These come very highly recommended from a lot of you guys, and I think there's a few reasons for that. So these are an affordable option. They are $25. They come in a bunch of different colors. They have a double thickness, slightly tapered waistband, no front seam, and these are a 6-inch inseam. So they're honestly a tiny bit short for me for running. For a gym short, I love 6 inches, but for running, I just prefer a little bit longer. These have slightly curved glute seams in the back. There are no side seams or any pockets or anything. Yes, I know that is a deal breaker for a lot of people. And these are actually a brushed material. So I did work out in them. I did sweat in them. It definitely showed, and it does hold on to it a little bit. But one benefit of having a brushed fabric like this is that it does kind of grip onto the body a little bit more. These are also just very lightweight, flattering, and just stay put really well overall. And it's also great to have an affordable option because undoubtedly with running, you are going to burn through your activewear a little bit more than gym going because you're just a little bit harder on it. So honestly, having an affordable short that is not the end of the world if they end up like wearing out between the thighs is kind of nice. So personally, I prefer these for a gym short, but they did a good job for running. These shorts have a nice flat lock seam that does have a little bit of bulk at the end. It does kind of hit at the bulk of my thighs. So this shouldn't be a problem if it hits below the bulk of your thighs, but just be aware of where these hit you. I personally didn't have any chafing, but I'm also not really running for long enough for it to really cause a problem yet. So overall, the seams are nice and flat, maybe minor chafing potential. Let's try these on. So these fit at a comfortable high rise and they have no top band, but these stay up really well. We have no front seam, which can be hard to find, and a pretty wide double thickness waistband here. It's slightly tapered. These are a 6-inch short, and while they're thick thigh friendly, they're not so loose at the bottom that they ride up. They stay put very well. We do have a seam along the inner thigh, and there may be a slight chafing potential right at the bottom where those seams come together, but it's just a little bit lower than where my thighs actually actually touch, so for me it's fine. No seams on the side. Overall, about a light to medium compression. We do have some seams that curve slightly around the glutes, so these are about a medium high on the booty scale. And even though these aren't super compressive, the density to this brushed fabric will hide cellulite a little bit. Overall, these are very simple, minimal seams, but the grip to that brushed fabric, even though a brushed fabric may pill a little bit more over time, it keeps these in place really well without needing a drawstring or anything like that. These are also very true to size. If you're in between, you could really go either way. Size down if you want more compression, size up if you prefer them to be not as compressive. So overall results of the run test, these did ride up like half an inch for me. I would say they more just kind of like settled into place because I did wear these on a 3.5 mile run. In the point where they rode up a little bit, they didn't move anything beyond that. But for me personally, I need just a little bit longer of a short. I still will definitely run in these. They're just not my top pick because of the length. But again, length is very personal from person to person. Our next no front seam short is another affordable option. These are the Baleaf 8-inch no front seam biker shorts. So Baleaf was one of the brands that was very highly recommended on running forums that I looked at, except they tended to recommend the Baleaf shorts with the front seam. So we'll have those later on. But this is their 2.0 version that has a slightly softer fabric and no front seam. And little spoiler alert, these are way better than the other ones. And these are really good. So first of all, these are $26.99, which is like $7 more expensive than the front seam Baleaf shorts, but it's worth the extra $7. These are much better. We have a double thickness waistband. These are more of a mid to high rise. They're not quite as high as some of the other ones. There is a top band on these that kind of helps everything stay up a little bit. There's a front inner waistband pocket, no front seam, and these come in multiple lengths. They have a 3-inch, 5-inch, and 8-inch. 5-inch is just a little bit too short for me, so I went for the longest, the 8-inch. And honestly, the longer short you choose, the less likely it is to ride up. So you know what? Biker shorts are back. These have a triangle gusset, a nice smooth flat lock seam down the thigh. They have these little angled side pockets. In the back is very plain. We have a little reflective logo, straight across seams. We'll notice throughout the video, the shorts, they're not really trying to be super flattering on the glutes, but you know what? With running, sometimes function takes priority over being flattering. And the fabric on these is a sleek performance, but it has an almost softer feel. It's not brushed, it still has that like sweat wicking, pet fur resistant quality that a performance fabric has, but it just has a nice soft hand feel. So I really liked the fabric of these. Let's try them on. Okay, so these are another true to size fit. If you're in between, you could really go either way. If you have larger thighs, maybe size up because they are compressive at the bottom, but they're not too tight. So I would still stick with your normal size overall. We have a high rise. You can almost see a little bit of my belly button there. And there is a top band up here, which can be beneficial with these more sleek performance materials. This one is sleek, but it is also soft at the same time. I actually am liking the fabric. So still a performance feel, but it has some softness to it. Definitely hard to find performance no front seam shorts, so I love that these have that. The side pocket is pretty good. I am poking out a little bit. I wish they would just continue it a little bit longer. We do have the little pocket in the front. I used to think that these were so pointless until I started running, and I'm like, I could put like my keys in there, my AirPods, something. These are a little bit longer than I go for, but I'd rather have them too long than too short. They definitely go past the bulk of my thighs. Again, a little compression at the bottom, but overall compression is really more like a medium, maybe even light to medium. And then there's not much going on in the back, just another medium on the booty scale. Again, performance leggings and shorts are never going to be the most flattering, but we're focusing more on performance rather than aesthetics. So the results of the run test, I thought these performed great in the run test. The thigh seam did not move at all. It has a little bit of compression, but it wasn't squishing me down. I did feel like the waist moved a little bit for me. My issue with top bands is that either the top band cuts into me too much or it almost just like floats away from my body too much. With shorts, we don't really have the issue of shorts like falling down because they don't have as much weight as a legging to really pull down your leg. But for me, the waist wasn't a perfect fit. But in terms of an affordable bike short, I loved the material. They stayed put really well. And these are just a great affordable option. So I would recommend these. Our next no front seam option are the Gymshark pocket shorts. These are a moderate price point. They're about $40, which really isn't too bad. Honestly, I didn't find any like really expensive no front seam options. All of the runners brands are still making front seams. So I did get a couple of suggestions for these shorts. These are a 6-inch inseam short. So right on that borderline for me where they may be a little bit too short for running. They're made of a shiny material, but it's not necessarily sleek performance. I actually was excited to try these because I thought they looked pretty good on the website, but this fabric is just very disappointing. Like it looks like it should be performance, but It's very flimsy. It doesn't like hug the body at all, and it doesn't just like give you that hold that you really need in a running short to stay in place and just kind of make you feel supported. The fabric just is not great, and it just reminds me that there's a reason why I never wear Gymshark stuff. So these are quite high rise. They do have a little seam at the top. It's not really a band that like does that much hold. We do have no front seam, thankfully. We have an extended crotch gusset that extends down the leg, so you do have 2 seams going down the leg, which could be a good thing that you don't have a seam right in the middle of the thigh, but that is potentially an extra spot for some chafing potential. The seams aren't super bulky though. We do have 2 very spacious side pockets, and then the seam is flat across in the back. And then I was very confused to see why they didn't use a flat lock seam down the center of the back. So this is a flat lock seam. This is kind of the standard for activewear. So when I saw they just did like a regular seam down the back, it just doesn't really have as much hold. And on the inside, a flat lock seam lays nice and flat, like the name suggests, but the seam up the back just kind of sticks out and sticks into your skin. So I was kind of bummed to see they use that kind of seam. Anyways, let's try these on. Every once in a while, I'm like, okay, let's give Gymshark another chance. I did get a couple recommendations for these shorts, and if I had to put these in a lineup of what I thought would be like the cheapest versus the most expensive, I would think that these would be the cheapest because they just feel cheap. People think that I buy things just to not like them. Why would I do that? I wanted to like these shorts, and just not doing it for me. So first of all, I do feel like the fit is a little bit weird. I just have a little bit of looseness like right above the glute area because these are like super, super high. Like I'm not even straining the shorts to do that. And if this is almost up to my sports bra, I'm 5'9" with a long torso. So the rise is ultra, ultra high, if that exists. The material is a sleek performance, but it doesn't really have a lot of compression and just feels a little bit like baggy at the same time. But I wouldn't say that I would size down in these because I already have a nice fit on the thighs. So this fabric is a light compression. It's not really doing a lot of holding to the body. I feel like these would slide around a lot, especially if they were in legging form. The inseam on the shorts definitely feels a little bit short for me. I can definitely adjust them down, but we'll see the run tests. They're definitely coming up a little bit. The side pockets are very spacious though. I like that it goes all the way down to the bottom, very secure. These do have a little tiny top band, but it's not cutting into me. And then the back, honestly, I'm gonna give these a low to medium on the booty scale because this goes up way too high. And one of the reasons why I just feel like these feel cheap is because this back rise seam is not even a flat lock seam. Every other pair of shorts today, we have this kind of flat lock seam for every single seam on the shorts, but for some reason we just have a basic seam up the back of these, and these I feel like tend to loosen up over time, and it's definitely just a cheaper look. Overall, mostly true to size on these, but definitely size down if you're in between. I'm just not loving how this fabric is hugging the body, and there's just some elements that I'm not so sure of. If you're going for a no front seam pocket short, definitely the Baleaf and the Aerie are much better quality and cheaper. So overall, these definitely did ride up a little bit. I just felt like everything with these shorts wanted to just like keep coming up. Like even the waist wanted to keep coming up. I had some extra fabric that didn't really necessarily feel like it was due to sizing. Just because this fabric lacks structure and like doesn't hug the body well, these just like didn't feel great. I think there's better no front seam options that are even cheaper. So honestly, I would skip these. Next, we have the Yvette Echo high-waisted bike shorts. These are a 9-inch inseam, so they are a little bit longer. And these are $27, so another affordable option. Yvette has a lot of sports bra options, but when I was scrolling on their website, I saw they had a performance no front seam bike short, and I was like, obviously need to try them for this review. So these were not recommended to me. I just found them on my own accord. So we have a double thickness waistband, and we do have a little elastic at the top to kind of hold them into place. We have a sleek performance sweat wicking material. So this material is nice and thin so that it wicks sweat away quickly, but it still provides some compression. We do have another extended gusset down the inside of the leg, but it's very flat and it does come together at the end. And these are actually a raw cut hem. So you don't have that bulky thigh hem that you have in like every other short, which most of the time is not going to be a problem, but this even decreases the bulk that goes down the center of the leg. So I would say these are actually very chafe resistant. We do have 2 side pockets, and then the back of the seam is kind of an inverted U curve. Let's try these on. Okay, so these are a high rise. They're hitting at the belly button. We do have a top band here, and overall these are a more compressive fit. I like my normal size fit here for a nice medium to high compression, but if you're in between, I definitely would be going with the size up. It really just hugs the body. It's nice and sleek. Your thighs just slide right past each other. These are a little bit longer. They are a 9-inch short, and they do have that free cut hem at the end, which definitely can reduce the potential of chafing. My biggest complaint with these is that the side pocket is a little bit small. I guess I can fit my phone phone in here. I feel like I tried this the other day and I wasn't able to, but if you have like an iPhone Pro Max or anything, you will not be able to fit it into this side pocket. It is quite narrow. Seams in the back kind of curve around the glutes. Again, just medium on the booty scale. In these lighter colors, they're not going to be the most cellulite friendly. So results of the run test, these stay put so well, and they have that compression at the bottom of the thighs, but since there's no actual seam there, it doesn't like sausage your thighs, it doesn't cut in. It just has enough compression to hold it in place. I have worked out in these and I found that the sweat dried very quickly. Again, it does show sweat, but it does dry. The only area of slight discomfort for me was maybe the top band, but I'd honestly rather have the top band staying in place instead of being slightly loose, because then it's not constantly shifting around my body. So these ones are definitely run test approved. I honestly feel like these are kind of a hidden gem and I'm glad that I found them. I've really enjoyed running in them. Okay, that's it for the no front seam shorts. Now we're moving on to the front seam options. So I had to try the Janji 7-inch pace shorts because I loved their loose style running shorts from my last running video. So I figured these would be great. So Janji is a running brand. They do tend to be on the pricier end. These are $72, but you guys told me after my last video that you can often find Janji on sale at places like REI. So definitely check that out if you are interested in these. Personally, I will be hitting up REI to see if they have any of those looser style shorts that aren't $70, because that would be great. So as the name suggests, these are a 7-inch short. These have a lot of fun features. So they are a slightly lower rise. They have a double thickness waistband with power mesh inside, so it really holds everything in. And they do have a top band, and they also have an infinity draw cord. And when I saw this listed on the website, I thought it was going to be one of the loop draw cords, and those can just get tricky to tie. But this is actually an elasticated draw cord that has 2 ends that you can tie together like normal. So this gets so many wins in my book because this is so much easier to tie than the loop. And it's just very functional if you do utilize a lot of the pocket. It's nice to have a drawstring to kind of keep everything up. So unfortunately, we do have a front seam that tends to be unavoidable for some running short brands. We have a triangle gusset and a nice smooth flat lock seam down the short. And like the Yvette shorts, these are also a raw cut hem at the bottom. So again, it even reduces the chafing potential further because you don't have that kind of thicker folded over hem at the bottom. These have huge side pockets that come in from the back, so they're kind of ergonomic in the way that your hand just like reaches forward, but also keeps everything in really well. We have a couple back pockets here. So you have these little drop pockets in the back of the waistband, but this can also serve as like a pass-through. You can see my thumb goes all the way through it. So if you're bringing like a towel with you or like a shirt or something that you want to just pass through there and forget about it, that is an option. Then on the inside of the waistband, there's another little secret pocket. And the final feature that I'm surprised none of the other shorts have is they have the silicone dot details on the inner hem of the shorts to really make sure that these stay in place and don't ride up. So I love this feature because instead of just making the bottom of the short super compressive, they just added these little silicone dot details so everything stays put really well. And this is a lot more dots than I would normally see. It's like a solid 1.5 to 2 inches of dots. Sometimes I'll see like one line or something like that, but they really put a lot in there to make sure that these don't slip. So let's try them on. First of all, I would say that these are true to size, but they're a more compressive fit. So if you're in between, I would be sizing up. They're also more of a mid-rise fit. I am seeing quite a bit below my belly button here. Personally, I do prefer a little bit higher, but everyone has different preferences. The waistband itself has a power mesh in it, so it kind of holds you in, but it's not super wide. So I would have liked to see that go a little bit lower. There is a band at the top, and I love that they did this infinity draw cord where you actually tie it instead of having the loop, because the loop drawstrings, I can never get those right. Honestly, these are tight enough that I don't even need that, but it's nice to have the feature. We do have a front seam, and I would say these are moderately invasive. I am getting a little bit of camel with these. It's not crazy, but as someone who prefers a no front seam, these are causing me a little bit of a problem here. The length of these is perfect. I absolutely love it. I also love that we have another raw cut hem. We have a good 2 inches of that silicone that really just keeps everything in place here. Also very minimal chafing going on. The seam actually sits just a little bit forward to the center of my thigh, so I'm not actually rubbing on the seam. Overall compression is about a medium to high. These definitely have a nice dense performance compressive fit. And then we have the pockets. So these side pockets are very secure and very large. So they kind of have this like ergonomic design where you slip them in from the back, and you can shove a lot in here and they're gonna stay put really well. There's a little bonded edge here that allows it to stay nice and flat. So very spacious side pockets, and then you just reach back in and grab it out. So I love that the entrance is a little bit smaller smaller, but you still have a lot of space with the pocket. There is also that little pocket on the inside of the back as well. Just a medium on the booty scale, nothing crazy. And I'd say overall these are thick thigh friendly, but I do see a little bit of extra compression in the thigh area because of the silicone dots in there. So if that little like disruption of the back of your thighs is gonna bother you, just be aware of that. So results of the running test, these did not budge at all. Obviously that little silicone dot detail really did a good job of keeping these in place. Even if you load the pockets, these are not going to slide down because you have not only that compressive waistband with the power mesh, but you also have the drawstring. I also like the little back detail for some visibility if you're running in the dark. But overall, I would say these definitely lean more towards functional and definitely compromise flattering a little bit. They honestly just weren't the cutest. I didn't feel like they were the most flattering. I feel like the waistband kind of cut in a little bit. The back view with the silicone dot detail just made the thighs look a little bit weird. So if you're all about functionality, they did great there, but personally I like a little bit better of a balance between cute and functional. And these are definitely all functional, not as much cute. Next up, we have another running focused brand. We have Oiselle. I tried their Roga shorts in my last running short review. And now we have the pocket joggers. So these are the 7-inch pocket joggers, or they are supposed to be the 7-inch pocket joggers, but I actually measured the inseam and they were 7.5-inch inseam, which makes sense because you'll see in my try on, I was like, these are not 7 inches, these are longer. So never trust a brand with their inseam apparently. So personally, that's okay. I just was kind of excited to see another 7-inch because I feel like I usually get like 6-inch or 8-inch, but alas, 7.5. So these have a lot of fun running features because Oiselle is a runner's brand. A very thick waistband here. They do have a top band, and then these do have that loop drawstring. So again, nice to have this to keep everything up, especially if you are going to load these pockets, but I prefer the drawstring on the Janji. Again, we do have a front seam. We have a triangle gusset and pretty smooth flat lock seam down the bottom. Again, for none of the shorts today, I really foresee that much chafing because I specifically chose ones that shouldn't have that. Large side pockets for your phone. You also have a mesh pocket on either side of the waistband for your gels, keys, anything smaller. And then in the back, the seams are flat across, and you have a large zip pocket all the way along the back for anything else. You could probably even fit like a water bottle in there if you have like one of those flat ones. So these definitely have a ton of pocket options. But if you see when I'm holding these up, the fabric is almost like stiff and not in a good way. I was actually kind of disappointed to see this fabric. This fabric feels like a cheaper version of like Lululemon Luon. When I started doing YouTube reviews for leggings like 6 years ago, like it's probably even longer at this point, I saw a lot of fabrics similar to this where they're not quite a soft brushed material, but they're also not performance. They're kind of that like intermediate material that's just like a little bit too thick, still gonna hold on to sweat, and it just has that like kind of itchy feeling, but they still pill. So based on the way these look to me right now, I feel like these would pill. I honestly really liked Oiselle's fabrics on the Roga shorts. I thought they were really nice. So I was a little bit disappointed to see that this was the fabric that they were going for with their tighter shorts. So let's try these on. Okay, so here we are. These honestly feel longer than 7 inches. So I always measure my own inseams because sometimes brands will lie about the inseam length. So these like kind of feel like more of an 8-inch or even 9-inch. So we'll see. Anyways, we have about a high rise, maybe mid to high, but I think I'm gonna lean towards high here. Nice thick waistband. So it is gonna give some tummy control there. Feels like it has some good thickness. We do have a little top band as well as a loop cord drawstring, which is definitely needed on these shorts because you have a lot of pockets. And if you're gonna load up these pockets, you definitely need that drawstring to kind of hold everything up. Quite a bit of compression on this fabric. I would say medium to high. I just don't love this kind of material. It's very thick, it's very structured, and it's just kind of itchy. The front seam, I would say, is a little bit invasive, nothing crazy. So we have tons of pockets here. First, we have these very spacious side phone pockets. I love how much room we have here. And then these would obviously be for like gels and things like that, but they have these little mesh pockets that you can stash things into. So I love that that's kind of keeping that lightweight. And then in the back, we have a full zip pocket back here that you can store more goodies in. So then we have the same pockets on the other side. So definitely tons of pockets here, making these very functional and a solid medium on the booty scale. And these do have some good compression, so you are gonna get cellulite coverage out of these. So overall thoughts and results of the run test. So these did ride up just a tiny bit, but they mostly just kind of like settled into place and then didn't move from there. So I don't foresee them actually having an issue riding up. I love all the functional runner focused features on these shorts, but overall I did feel like the fabric was just a little bit too heavy and just kind of uncomfortable. It just really didn't feel great in the run test. So unfortunately, it's another letter L for Oiselle. I didn't really love the first shorts I tried from them, and I'm just not loving the fabric on these. If they fix the fabric, I think these would actually be really great. Next, we have the Lux baseline shorts from Senita. Senita was very highly recommended on running forums. People love them because not only do they have great performance fabrics and pockets, but they're also on the affordable side. These shorts are $34, so not quite as cheap as Amazon, but still definitely reasonable. I got 2 pairs of Senita shorts, so we'll talk about the second one after. But this is their Lux fabric, and I am a big fan of how this feels. It's a sleek performance fabric that just kind of hugs the body and gives you some good hold and compression. This is definitely a material that I gravitate towards for running. So we have a double thickness waistband. We do have a little top band, no drawstring. There is a little hidden pocket in the front here. We do have a front seam on these. And then we have these side pockets, and I have a little beef with Senita because on their website, if you look at these exact shorts, they're supposed to have a pocket that has like an over-under detail. So you can put things on the top of the pocket, but also kind of have like a tennis ball pocket to just like flip your tennis ball under. So I'll insert a photo, but I looked back at the website and it didn't say that like some of the lengths didn't have that specific pocket. So I don't know if they like sent me the wrong ones or something, but everything else seems to be accurate. They're just missing that detail, and there's nothing worse than ordering something online and having a key feature missing that you were supposed to have. So found that a little concerning. I was kind of excited for that pocket detail because I thought it was something that kind of set these shorts apart from other shorts. It's not necessarily a thing that runners would need, but anyway. Straight across seam in the back, little reflective Senita logo here. Nice flat lock seam down the side. And another great thing about Senita is their shorts come in multiple lengths. These are these 7-inch shorts. Again, was very excited to see a 7-inch, but they also come in a 3.5 and a 5-inch, so multiple options if you prefer a shorter short. Let's try these on. Okay, so I'm not entirely sure what happened, but I definitely feel like I got the wrong shorts, even though I double checked my order, and I did order the Lux baseline short, and when I look on the website, there are photos showing the over-under pocket. So we'll just ignore that. I'll take it up with Senita. So these are a high rise. Again, a little bit of belly button showing. These do have a top band. It's not too tight though. Overall, these are very true to size. I would say you could go either way if you need to size up or down. The front seam on these is actually not super invasive. So I'd say these are minimally invasive. I'm okay wearing this. We do have a little front pocket in the waistband here. And then we have pretty spacious side pockets as well. It covers my whole phone. I love that these have multiple lengths. These are the 7-inch option, which would be my preferred length just because I know these are gonna stay put. And I really do like this material. It's a nice compressive sleek performance. These ones are fitting as kind of like a medium compression. And then the back is very simple. The seam is straight across, about a medium on the booty scale. And they have enough compression on the thighs where they feel like they'll stay in place, but they're not squishing me. So results of the run test, these performed really well. The thigh seam didn't move at all. My only issue was the waistband area. Again, this is the issue I have with some of these top band leggings and shorts. They just kind of move around a little bit. They're just scared to make them like snug on the waist. So I wish the waist fit me just a little bit better, but overall love the length of these, love how they performed, and I love the fabric. I also snagged the Senita Lux Train short. So these were not the ones that were highly suggested, but I saw this waistband and I needed to test it because I haven't seen a drawstring waistband like this other than on the Aerie daily leggings. And that is like my favorite drawstring design that anyone's ever done. So I had to try these. These are also $34 and they're made of that same Lux fabric. So all the same pros as the baseline shorts. I absolutely love this fabric. These do have 2 inseam options. There's a 4-inch and a 6-inch. Would have liked a 7, but we'll survive with the 6. So these have a double thickness waistband and there's actually no band at the top of these. So the waistband just sits really nicely, but you also have this drawstring option and the drawstring is in the middle of the waistband. So even if you tighten it, you're not tightening the top of the waistband and creating that little muffin top effect. You're getting all the benefits of having a waistband, but in just a much more flattering way. So I loved that. We do have a front seam, which again, less than ideal, but it's fine. A pretty smooth flat lock seam down the middle there. We have 2 side pockets. I like that Senita stuff definitely seems more on the functional side. And then we have the logo in the back and the glute seams flat across. Let's try these on. Okay, here we are. Another high rise, just a little peek of belly button here. And I love the waistband on these because it's still a double thickness waistband with no top band. So you're not getting any muffin topping cutting into the top, but you still have the security of a drawstring that's going to allow these to stay up well without cutting into the top of the waistband because it's right in the middle. So these are very similar to the Aerie daily leggings. And I love the waistband waistband on those. Overall true to size, but these are a more compressive short. So if you're in between, I would be sizing up. These are also 6 inches. Again, I prefer a little bit longer. I assume these will be just fine for me, but just a ½ an inch to an inch longer for me would be ideal. These do have a front seam and I would put them as like moderately invasive again. They're still doing a little bit of something down there, but that won't happen to everyone. Very spacious side pockets. I love to see it. There's so much room. It goes all the way down to the bottom, so it's going to be really secure, and very plain in the back. Again, just medium on the booty scale. Overall, these are a medium to high compression, and we have some good compression on the thighs to the point where they're going to keep this thigh seam in place, but it's not cutting into me. So results of the run test, I had, again, with all of the 6-inch shorts, I've had like about ½ an inch of riding up, but it really was like a slight adjustment and then they did not move. Again, I think a slightly longer inseam would be slightly better for me, but I still think these are very functional. So overall, I think these are definitely running approved. I really like the style of the waistband, and I love that these have that nice fabric that I liked from the last Senita shorts, but they're just overall a little bit cuter and a little bit more flattering, but they still have all of the same functional pocket details. So I really liked these. All right, we're wrapping things up with a few more affordable options. First, we have the CRZ Yoga Naked Feel Light Running Shorts in the 6-inch inseam. If you watched my last running short review, you know that I've been obsessed with CRZ Yoga for running clothes, and these shorts did not disappoint. These came highly recommended, and they're called a naked feel, but I really don't like that descriptor for this fabric. It actually is a really nice compressive performance material. So I feel like out of all of the affordable options, these had some of the best running features. So we have a nice wide double thickness waistband. There is a top band on these. Generally, you are going to see that with more sleek materials because they just don't stay up quite as well. We also have the loop drawstring, which I feel like, again, I didn't really see on the affordable options. So I love having that, especially in combination if you're gonna do a top band. I love seeing the loop draw cord with it because it just makes everything sit a lot more flat. We do have a front seam on these. We have a triangle gusset and flat lock seams down the hem. Again, minimal chafing potential here. We do have 2 full side pockets, and then we have kind of the double seams that are pretty typical of like a pocket legging, where we have the flat waistband seam, and then we have that seam that kind of leads into the shorts down at the bottom. So these are a 6-inch short, but they are a little bit more tapered than some of the other ones, so they had really good grip on the thighs. Let's try these on. I was a little hesitant with the name Naked Feel for these, but these are exactly what I would look for in a performance material. Has a nice sleek feel, has some good compression to it. Sometimes naked feel can be a little bit flimsy. This has good hold to it, so I like this fabric. We have a high rise. There is a little top band. You generally get that with these sleek materials. We also have that loop cord drawstring, which helps. Again, I prefer not to have the loop cord, but it is nice to have if you feel like you just don't have enough compression in the waist for these to stay up. Nice thick waistband here. These are a 6-inch inseam, but the thigh seam feels nice and secure, so we'll see with the run test, but I think that these are gonna stay put. We do have a front seam. I would say it's minimally invasive though. CRZ tends to be okay for me. They're not something I really reached for before I started running, but it is difficult to find no front seam options as a runner. We do have a nice side pocket. Kind of comes in at an angle here, but still it has plenty of space and holds my phone well. Overall, about a medium compression on these and true to size. If you're in between, you could really go either way, but I would kind of suggest sizing down. And the seams go above the glutes, medium on the booty scale, and you do get some lower thigh compression down there, but still thick thigh friendly. It's not cutting into my thighs. So thigh compression is a good thing with shorts. We just don't want cutting in. And so far today, I haven't really had anything cutting in, which is really good. So I need to find this material in some leggings next because I really like it. So overall results of the run test, these are actually the only 6-inch short that didn't move at all. All of the other ones had about like ½ an inch of riding up, which in the grand scheme of things isn't crazy, but I love that these didn't move at all because it gives me a lot of confidence in these that they're just going to stay put and stay in place when you're running. I love the material on these. It's very sweat wicking. It really holds the body well, gives you some compression. It just has that nice performance quality that I look for in a running short. Again, I wouldn't call these like naked feel or anything, but I love how these performed. I love the addition of the loop drawstring in here, and I feel like out of all of these 6-inch shorts, these are the winners for me. Next up for CRZ, we have the Butterluxe biker shorts. So these are an 8-inch short, and these are another affordable option coming in at $26. And I've talked about the Butterluxe material on this channel before, but this is going to be a little bit more lightweight compared to like Kamo Fitness Serenity. But if you're someone who likes a slightly brushed material for running, just because it tends to stay in place really well, these could be for you. We have a nice high waistband, double thickness with no top band. We do have a front seam. Again, nice smooth flat lock seam down the center. Nice pockets at the side, and the pockets actually have a little elastic band right at the top to just kind of keep everything nice and in place, and very simple in the back. Let's try these on. Okay, so here we are. These are kind of between a high rise and an ultra high rise with no top band. These are almost a teeny bit loose on me. So because they're made of a brushed fabric, I know they're going to stay in place really well, but if you're in between sizes, I would definitely choose the size down. I think I can probably fit into an extra small in this case. Because this fabric is so lightweight, the front seam is very minimally invasive, so generally the Butterluxe front seams don't bother me. These are an 8-inch inseam, so again, like maybe a little bit longer than I would go for, but still definitely wearable for me. And then we have the side pockets. You can see here why they feel just like a little bit big for me. The side pocket wants to bubble out a little bit. It does have a little band at the top here, but they are very spacious side pockets. Definitely secure. Overall, these are a light compression. I think if I size down, they'd be more of a light to medium compression. The seam goes above the glutes in the back. Not going to be a ton of cellulite coverage, but a little bit, and just a medium on the booty scale. So these are going to be another option, kind of like the Kamo Fitness Serenity leggings. If you do want a brushed fabric that's just going to have like a little bit more grip to the body without having to have those top bands or anything, but it could be potentially a little bit more pill prone. I haven't had issues with pilling on this material, but with running, you know, it's just a matter of time. So results of the run test, I feel like I could probably do a size down in these. I feel like they would just hug everything a lot better because I have worn some Butterluxe before that just fits with a little bit more compression. I actually do really like this material. I feel like it has the right amount of brushness to it that it's going to grip the body really well without having additional top bands or needing a drawstring or anything, but it's still not super heavy. It's definitely a more lightweight brush material. And the thigh seams did not budge at all. They stayed put really well, kind of typical of a longer short like this. So I thought these did great. And lastly, we have the Baleaf 8-inch biker shorts. These are the ones I was talking about earlier that everyone is recommending on all these running forums. To be fair, I feel like most of the running forums I found were maybe like a year or two old, but still, even 2 years ago, I don't think I would have been super pleased with these. But anyway, these come in 3 different inseams, 3, 5, and 8-inch. I got the 8-inch, and these are super cheap. These are $19.99. Like, really can't get much more affordable than that. We have a double thickness waistband with a top band and a little front waistband pocket again. We do have a front seam, 8-inch inseam, nice flat lock seams down the inner hem, side pockets. And this material is similar to the Oiselle shorts, where it's that kind of like old school legging material that's not like a lightweight soft brush material, but also not a sleek performance. And this one was honestly worse than the Oiselle. The Oiselle I at least liked how the thickness of that gave it some compression, and it still provided some hold and kind of contoured along the body. This one definitely just feels a little bit more flimsy to me. It didn't really hug the body. Just not what you need out of like a compression running short. So let's try these on. Okay, sometimes you just can't trust the recommendations from online because there are just so many better shorts out there than these. The no front seam Baleaf shorts that I found were actually not what I saw suggested online. It was all these, but then I saw the other ones and I was like, well, those have no front seam and the fabric looks a little better, and alas, those are way better. So we'll still go over these. Overall, these are true to size, but they do just kind of like have a little bit of extra fabric in certain places. So I don't know if I would go as far as to size down because that's a little risky with a front seam, but they definitely run a little bit on the larger side. So size down if you're in between. I would say these are mid to high rise because we are fully showing the belly button. We do have a top band because these are not too tight. It's not cutting into me. We have the little mesh waistband pocket. It actually covers a decent span on the inside of the waistband there. The front seam is pretty minimally invasive. Again, these are a little bit big, so that kind of helps with that. And the compression is overall like a light compression. And this fabric, again, is just not my favorite. It feels like that kind of fabric that we don't really see in leggings a lot anymore. It's not that luxurious brushed material, but it's also not like a body hugging performance material. It's just a little bit flimsy. It doesn't really want to hug to your curves and just kind of wants to fall off the body a little bit. It almost has like a cheap looking sheen to it, but it's not a sleek performance. I just don't really feel like this fabric has enough hold. It definitely seems like it would stretch out. In the back, the seams just go a little bit above the glutes, medium on the booty scale, not helping, not hurting. I like that these come in multiple inseams, but there are just better options out there for that same affordable price. So these really aren't horrible, but they're not something I would reach for when we have so many better options today. Overall results of the run test for these, the thigh seam did stay in place. Again, really all of the 8-inch shorts are gonna stay in place, but I just didn't like the kind of flimsy feel. They did feel like they were kind of like moving around on my body. And again, maybe some of it is due to sizing. These run like a tiny bit bigger, but the no front seam Baleaf shorts we talked about at the beginning of the video had a much better fabric, a much better fit, and they also come in multiple inseam lengths. So definitely go for those instead. Not loving the fabric on these. All right guys, so those are all of our thick thigh friendly compression biker style running shorts. I know that was a lot. There's really no way to make this video any shorter if you want all the details. So we're gonna wrap up with a little top pick section. If you just couldn't watch the rest of the video and you just wanna know what are the best ones. Honestly, my number one pick are going to be the Aerie Goals shorts. The length was absolutely perfect. They didn't squeeze me anywhere. They didn't have a top band, but they didn't need it. And the material just had a really great performance compression feel. So I'm really hoping to see more colors in those because those are honestly number one. And Aerie is constantly having sales. So I literally bought those for like $20. So yeah, they win on all fronts, and they have no front seam. My second pick would probably be the CRZ shorts. Even though they were 6 inches, they still have a lot of really great features. I loved the fabric, and if you're okay with the front seam, they're affordable and really good. Like, they honestly feel just as high quality as any of the other brands. Honestly, most of the affordable brands were great today. The Baleaf no front seam shorts, the Yvette shorts, they're a little bit on the long side for me, but they worked really well. In terms of the runner focused brands, I didn't absolutely love them. I feel like the Senita Train shorts were definitely my top pick out of all of those. The Janji definitely great for functionality, but just like not the cutest. And the Oiselle, I just like couldn't get over the fabric. But honestly, we had a ton of great options in this video. So next I'll be working on the running leggings review. I already have a bunch of leggings in the works for that, but if you have any leggings you feel very strongly about me testing, leave them in the comments down below, and give this video a thumbs up and leave your comments down below if you are liking the running series. I'm gonna do a video on my running journey soon since I'm almost 6 months into my running journey. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been having so much fun with this little running series. So I appreciate you guys all so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.